Affirming Black Manhood, taking back the power to define, develop, protect and project what it means to be a black man in today's world. On Sunday the 20th of June, we invite you to join the conversations facilitated by our esteemed lineup, engaging us all in addressing various aspects of black manhood from a range of perspectives, featuring Baba Mwalimu Baruti, defining principles of black manhood, Robin Walker, the economics of black manhood, Ifayomi Grant, rebuilding productive African manhood whilst challenging misogyny, Brother Leader Bandaka, black manhood, fatherhood and rites of passage, Baba Buntu, building black brotherhood. This is an online event taking place Sunday, the 20th of June, 2021 from 12 p.m. UK time. For tickets and more information, visit shakaraspeaks.com. International guests, feel free to join us at any time or catch the playback. This is an event for black men by black men. Affirming black manhood. Affirming black manhood, taking back the power to define, develop, protect and project what it means to be a black man in today's world. On Sunday the 20th of June, we invite you to join the conversations facilitated by our esteemed lineup, engaging us all in addressing various aspects of black manhood from a range of perspectives, featuring Baba Mwalimu Baruti, defining principles of black manhood, Robin Walker, the economics of black manhood, Ifayomi Grant, rebuilding productive African manhood whilst challenging misogyny, Brother Leader Bandaka, black manhood, fatherhood and rites of passage, Baba Buntu, building black brotherhood. This is an online event taking place Sunday, the 20th of June, 2021 from 12 p.m. UK time. For tickets and more information, visit shakaraspeaks.com. International guests, feel free to join us at any time or catch the playback. This is an event for black men by black men. Affirming black manhood. Mic check 1 2 1 2 in the place to be with Shakara Speaks. You done know, kings and queens. We're day out. Welcome to all those who are in live and in the building right about now. Gonna have a beautiful conversation with two brothers who I truly respect. You know what I'm saying? Doing the works in the community with regards to manhood, and bringing boys into manhood, a process that I'm relatively familiar with myself, you know what I'm saying, as I was brought through the process and have contributed to bringing others through the process. But as we gear up towards the event Affirming Black Manhood coming up on the 20th of June, family, we're just bringing you another live chat. For all those who want more information, check out shakaraspeaks.com. That's SHAKARA speaks.com, as it is listed on your screen, and you can get all the information that you need, plus your tickets and them kind of things there. It's time for us as black men, as African men, to take back the power to define, defend and develop what it means to be a black man for ourselves in today's world. For too long, these principles and ideals of black manhood have been dictated to us, and so we have to wrestle back the territory and make sure that our manhood produces and manifests what we want it to, in terms of contributing productively to our community. And so without further ado, let me introduce you to two brothers who really need no introduction. I'm gonna bring on the elder first because it's only right, you know what I'm saying, but big man Ronya, you know what I'm saying, who's been doing this work for years, kings and queens, years. I come my word, come see him, I do this work, and he's got the keys to the city, really the country, to be honest, because he goes all up and down the UK working with young people in the British education system. But he also, most importantly, especially for this conversation, has his own institution called the West Side Young Leaders Academy. Well, there's actually two, one for the boys and one for the girls, but we're dealing with manhood today, so we're focusing on the boys, and so because of his expertise in this field and in this area, we're going to bring in through kings and queens, and I want you to show your love for brother Andrew Muhammad. Greetings, Papa G.
Lick shot from Babylon. Greetings to my king. Brother, just the opening alone, we can shut the show down. We don't need to go no further.
Give thanks. I'm humbled. Sorry, God. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No, just saying, just your spirit alone, brother. That's all I needed tonight.
Likewise, my brother. Likewise. Appreciate you joining me here today. Yeah, man. It's no small feat, you know, when you're joined by brother Andrew Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? Cause man is a very, very busy man, and he could be anywhere, but he's, you know, humbly chosen to be with me today. So I appreciate it truly, my brother. And I'll share a secret with you, kings and queens. Brother Andrew actually went college with my father. Yeah. So him know me before I was even conceived. You know what I'm saying? And then we're there. So yeah, you get me. My mother and my father, I should say. Both my parents. You know what I'm saying? So yes, indeed, family. And next, without further ado, you know what I'm saying, the younger iteration of this energy, kings and queens, a man who has been kicking up their noise, yeah, over the last few years. I think there's barely a newspaper that he hasn't featured in the last 5 years, kings and queens. But I respect this brother's grind. I respect his work. I respect his sincerity, and I respect his desire, yeah, to see better for our children and our young people. And I've seen him put in the work consistently. Peer love and respect, kings and queens. Bringing up and introducing you to and show your love for the one and only brother Davis J. Williams. Greetings, brother Davis.
All right, listen, I want to be driving down the road, yeah, and I want to tune into LBC, like London's Black Conversation. I want to hear your voice on there, man, because you know what, King? Like, no, serious, man. Like, you've got the sauce. You've got
good tax. Well, I'll tell you what you can do. We ain't got all that right now, but we have got Kush TV, and I'm on there regular. So, you know what I'm saying? So, we, as we develop, we'll get to 24-hour streaming and all these things. And yeah, we'll get there, family. Do you know what I'm saying? So, I do want to say big up to the chat. Big up my sister, Leah Salmon. Yeah, celebrities in the building, you know, family. Another sister whose grind I truly respect. This sister is a gem. Yeah, an absolute gem. So I just want to show her some love. Big up to Yvonne Daly. Do you know what I'm saying? Big up to brother Reggie, even though he's come to try and, you know, bring some deflection energy right about now. But that's brother Reggie. You know what I'm saying? We just have to love brother Reggie anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? And keep it moving. You know what I mean? So big up brother Reggie same way. All right. So what am I saying now? Oh, who else is there? Big up to Annabelle Rass. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Big up to Glory. Share the link far and wide, family. Make people know, say, you know what I'm saying? Brother Andrew Muhammad, brother Davis J. Williams, aka Love is Just a Verb, is in the building. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? We're talking about bringing boys into manhood and manhood in general, family. Do you know what I'm saying? We're not gonna be here too long, but we want just, you know, touch on certain things. So brother Andrew, Westside Young Leaders Academy. Brother Davis, yeah, the Manhood Academy Global, yeah. And I should start here. I should start by asking you what inspired you, yes, to start and begin these respective institutions. What need did you see in the community that meant that this was the work that you were going to pursue? And why did you focus on boys and manhood?
I like Davis though. Go Davis, man.
You're too bad, you know. Now for me, it's always been an area of self-development for myself. When I was younger, in my early 20s and maybe in my 30s, I used to run away from manhood, that conversation. So I didn't understand it. No one taught it to me. I knew what it meant to be cool and, you know, to have that bravado. I understood that. But when I used to work with young boys, young black boys in particular, I'd always remember when they used to come with a certain energy where they might have been crying or something's happened with dad, I would just sway away from that conversation. Like, I just would not touch anything emotional. Literally, I wouldn't. I was even a bit emotionless myself when it came to certain conversations. And when I see some of the young ones, they're in prison now and stuff, sometimes I look back and say, David, you could have done better, you know? And how I can do better is by me being better. And it's by me exploring what manhood means to me and sharing that with young people, and that's how it started. It wasn't an area that I said, yeah, I want to learn. No, like, manhood come lick me upon the head. You know what I'm saying? Being a father, having challenging situations, and I realized that for me to step up and to address these situations, I have to look at masculinity, what that means. And that's the short version there, you know, it's a part of my growth. And I'm still growing today. There's so much to learn. There's so much we have to unlearn. And yeah, and I look around us and I look in our community and I'm just like, all I see is manhood now. I'm just like, what is this? Like, and why don't people want to talk about it? Why do people run away from it? They'd rather talk about the knife or the samurai sword, but they will not talk about that young boy searching for something that I would say, in my opinion, that they're searching for a sense of belonging, identity, or manhood, so to speak. You're on mute, you know, King.
No, I realize. That's like the most quoted statement of the last year. You're on mute. But it's all good, family. So yeah, but yeah, over to you, brother Andrew. Same question.
Thank you, King. Just before I start, I must give
Sorry, brother Andrew. I'm sure you'll appreciate why I'm interrupting you right about now. But when you see royalty, you just have to acknowledge royalty immediately.
I see it already. Bow,
right?
bow,
Just what I'm saying. So first of all, yeah, I want to big up Sister Dr. Sandra Richards, who is in the building. Yeah, love auntie. Do you know what I'm saying? Give thanks. Yeah, but we just have to just pause for a second and acknowledge the situation. And also Sister Nkechi Abeng, another auntie that I've known from the barn and all these things, kings and queens. So I just want to big up the aunties them and assisting them inside of the building. Yes, love. Sorry, brother Andrew. But like I said, when you see royalty, you just have to roll out the black carpet quickly and continue the proceedings. Go ahead, brother.
Brother, you took the words out of my mouth. As soon as I saw them, I said, no, we can't carry on without Sister Nkechi and Sister Dr. Sandra, beloved. So you literally done it for me, brother. I also want to give a shout out to Sister Angie Rose of Agators. Big up, do some brilliant work nationwide on that.
Love, sister, love.
Absolutely. So yes, I'll give you the short version too. I understand that creating the Westside Young Leaders Academy was my way of really recreating a community. People see me as someone who's just into schools and young people. But to be honest with you, brothers, I started the Westside Young Leaders Academy with the vision of using it as a vehicle to recreate our own community all over again. It was literally done at a time, because the Westside's been running for about 9 to 10 years now. It was done at a time when there was a conspiracy. I use the word conspiracy to kill black manhood. Yeah, a serious conspiracy to kill black manhood. And so we said, let's start with the men. Let's start with the boys. Because without the man in the community, without the boys in the community, how are we going to build a nation? How are we going to build a community? Our sisters, in my humble view, our sisters have always been on it, to be honest with you. Our sisters have been holding us for 400 years, man. And it's about time that we recreate the black man. I'm going to be upfront with you. I am not the black man that we're trying to recreate. Yeah. If I was a model of the black man, I would take myself back to Argos and ask for a refund. You know what I'm saying? I'm so far from that reality. But at the same time, we've got to start somewhere. We've got to start somewhere. And, you know, I was always a follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he was like a father away from my physical father. And he taught me the tenets of what it spiritually means to be a black man. He taught me the tenets of what it physically means to be a black man. He taught me the tenets of what it means economically to be a black man. He taught me the tenets of what it means to be academically awake as a black man. And I'm telling you, man, from the time I read those words and listened to the words of great teachers like the Honorable Malcolm X, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable, and I say the man that really did inspire me, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, and there's so many other black men that I looked at and said, wow, now I've seen what it means to be a black man. And we got many Honorable Marcus Garveys around us. We've got many Malcolm X's around us. We've got many Farrakhans around us. And so it's about instilling that self-belief within them to make them see that, you know what? We don't have to read about great leaders. You be that great leader.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate that. So, I mean, so let's get into quickly, like, what do your respective institutions do? Yeah, like, what kind of work do you do with young boys? And I know, Brother Davis, I mean, you've got about 10 million different what's it called, you know, programs that man runs, you know what I'm saying? Every time I speak to Dave, he's got a new program going on with some young people somewhere. So feel free to extend it beyond Manhood Academy Global, so if needs be. But just give our viewers a bit of an idea of what is it that you do with young boys.
So in short, we want to be able to have a conversation with young boys in particular, but we don't have a conversation with them. We want to have a conversation with their future, if that makes sense. But in order to be able to have that conversation, you need to take off that mask first and foremost. When I'm talking about that mask, and I know you've been to Naked Truth, like one of our sayings is, you know, leave your mask at the door. Because I know before I arrived at the person that I am now, and like Brother Andrew said, I'm nowhere near the finished article. When people used to approach me, my mask used to be on, and I was this fake. I was a fake dude. There was nothing real. There was nothing authentic about me. I had a string of broken relationships. I didn't know the word commitment. If you tell me, if I said I'll be there at 7 o'clock, I'm there at 10. I was this fake, you know. And what we want to do with the young boys, I see a lot of myself in the young boys that we mentor, that we coach. And put all the razzmatazz to one side, all of the you know, the conversations about the cartoons or the residentials to the Gambia, all of that stuff, put that to one side. We just want access to their heart, because we know that the young boys that we work with, their heart has been broken. They've been so traumatized. They've experienced something, and that something has affected the way they look at the world. It's affected the way they interact with the person that they love the most, which is their mum. In more often cases than not. Some of the things that I heard these young boys say, I'm just like, wow, are you doing this to your mum? And you could see their faces like this. I'm just like, I just want to get access to their heart and massage it. You know, love. That's all I want to inject in the young boys. And outside of that, with that love comes the knowledge of self, be it having that pride, having that black power, having that awareness, also having that mental image of the type of man they want to become. No disrespect, but not Big Shaq, you know, not man, not hot, not that, you know what I mean? But a man of purpose, an MP. You want young men of purpose. They know what their purpose is. They have a vision, and they are implementing that vision every single day. And as you know, bro, I would even do vegan food. If it means I can get that conversation going, then so be it. If it's a football program, then so be it. If it's the Naked Truth, then so. If I need to talk to mum and go through mum to talk, whatever I need to do, that is my only motive. Love, love, and love is something that's gone. Where I'm looking at you, but I'm screwing. It's just like, it's embarrassing. Even on the train, when I see in my reflection, for like a split second, I can see Davis. This don't say nothing, and I got to just kick that ideology out the head, and I smile. I got to force myself to smile, because this system has made me look at my people, and this I can't be bothered. You know what I'm saying? That's the wrong attitude. But when I go back home to Dominica, where my family is from, so I'm saying hello every second, because is this within the system? You know? Yes. All of the programs that we do is based on love, that love energy, and also that divine masculine and that divine feminine as well. So it's a lot of spiritual work that we're doing with the young boys and the young girls.
Right. Love. Same question, Brother Andrew.
Yes, in terms of the programs that we run at Westside, we're very specific, to be honest with you. As I said, we are not a school. We don't see ourselves as being a traditional school. We are a holistic leadership academy. And we personally believe that all of our programs should be about taking our young boys from being followers into being leaders. And the greatest way that you can become a leader is by being the greatest servant to your community. So leadership doesn't mean that you're going to be all boisterous from the front, but are you serving your community? We have a curriculum which is 4-pronged approach. Our first part of our program is history, culture, and identity. We really believe that there's going to be a heavy dose of knowledge of self. As I say, it's no coincidence that you mentioned at the beginning. Again, Bob, you just teeth in my lines, because I was going to tell everyone that your father was the one that introduced me into Pan-Africanist thought pattern. You know what I'm trying to say? He set up a Pan-African organization at Wolford Forest College, and we were one of the first ones that attended there. And it took me on a journey of the importance of the knowledge of self, which is fundamental. And so I realized that one of the things that your father taught me from a teenager, when I was a teenager, was that your academic prowess, your academic qualifications, your academic fervor will be stifled if you don't know who you are as a person. If you don't know your culture, if you don't know your civilization, if you don't know what it means to be an African, and your father put, and when I first heard that, I thought, no way, man, I can't be studying my history and then I'm missing out on my exams.
Yes, sir.
But I'll tell you something, man, I tried out what your father said, and I devoted myself into African history.
Yes, sir.
And brother, I'm not boasting, your father knows me from back in the day. I smashed every exam. I'm not talking about, just passing exams.
Yes,
I eradicated any form of academic, and that was because it was a new me.
Yes, sir.
I was an African now, being an African now.
Yes,
if you see what I'm trying to say, not just a human being.
Right.
I was now an African being. And so I understood from my own history how important history, culture, and identity is. So that's the first part of our program in terms of our curriculum. The second is finance and business. We're very heavy on entrepreneurship in our academy. And one of our directors, Brother David Akuru, is one of the best practitioners and teachers of entrepreneurial skills within our youth and our people. So we're very heavy in making sure that, we don't want to be a black man and you can't buy Twix. You don't want to be a black man, you can't even go into Argos and get a little something, you know what I'm trying to say? Because then it's talk. A man doesn't feel like a man unless he can put money, hand in his pocket, and he can pull out some money, brethren. I know it sounds kind of basic and kind of rudimentary, but we are living in the real world. And we said we want to be leaders economically too. You understand? So that way you become a power. You become a power. What you say and what you feel, you can put it into action. It's not just rhetoric. And so we teach our young black men about the tenets of being strong financial leaders, how to open up a bank account, how to invest money, and so on. The third part of our program is leadership and social skills. And so now we're dealing with the soft skills. What does it mean to be a leader? What are the traits of leadership? We make them study past leaders. And what can we take from the past leaders? Good and bad. Yeah? So we teach them the tenets of leadership and social skills. How to shake someone's hand. It could be so basic, it could be such basic soft skills.
Yes, sir.
How to say good morning. How to literally keep a door open for a sister. And these are things many of us take it for granted, but in the society we live in today, our boys, I don't see themselves as young boys. I see videos where they're thumping down girls like they're thumping down a man. And we're gonna go back to the absolute basics of what it means to be a man. And so on. And the last area in terms of our curriculum is creativity and self-expression, which you know that you're a master of that, brother. We teach them about the tenets of spoken word, how powerful a word is. That the word can defeat a gun. A word is more powerful. A word is the sword of life. You know what I'm saying? So we teach them about how to express your feelings, how to be a persuasive writer, a persuasive argument. We teach them about debating skills, because many times our young black boys are resorting to the fist because they can't articulate their feelings. They can't articulate their thinking. And so the easiest way to do it is to then get physical, because then this is the only way I can express it. But Brother Davis, again, and I'm not just saying it because brother's with me right now. People know I've said this personally, publicly, whatever, okay? I love this brother because he takes conversations with our youth into areas that I don't see anyone else doing. And the fact that you call it love is a verb, come on, man. Most people say, what are you talking about love? What's all this love business? But until our young people, young black boys especially, can talk about things like love, can talk things about how they feel inside, how they can talk about wanting to cry at times, what does it mean to be in a state of anxiety or depression. Many of our boys, believe it or not, and I'll stop in a second, many of our boys many of our boys, big brother Shakara, we don't appreciate. Many of them are so traumatized that they don't even know they're traumatized.
Yes, sir. Yes,
They
sir.
can't articulate their traumatic feelings. Many of us, as black men, many of us don't know it. We can't articulate. Many black men are on the verge or already experiencing severe depression, and they don't even know they're in depressive state. You see what I'm trying to say? Because depression comes out in many different forms.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You understand? And until we can start sitting down and articulating this, it's absolutely important. So they're the four main tenets of our curriculum. And how do we put it into action? And I'll do this very quickly. We have programs that literally incorporate those four areas. We have what's called a Fit to Lead program, which is basically keeping the body fit, because not use having a mind that's fit, but our youth are physically unable to do anything. So we have a Fit to Lead program, which is a physical program. We have our Leaders Serve program, which is where we take them out into the community and they serve the community. They serve old the mature people in our community. We take them to old people's homes. We take them down into the city of London, feed homeless people, because we want them to know what does it mean to be a servant in your community.
Yes, sir.
We have what's called a scholarship program, which is more academic, whereby we get them scholarships into the top universities or the top schools and boarding schools all over the UK. Some of these boarding schools are in excess of £40,000 a year. We get those scholarships for them, and we do the pastoral service for them as well. And we have an in-schools program whereby we go into schools for those people that can't come to the WYLA program. We go into schools and we deliver these same type of programs in the school environment. And then lastly, we have what's called Project Genius, because you cannot be what you cannot. You can't be whatever you can't see. You've got to be able to see what you want to be. So we have a Project Genius, which we introduce them to Black Medical Association. So and a whole federation of black doctors, dentists, surgeons. They come and do workshops. We introduce them to TV producers and directors. We introduce them to app creators. All of these are black. Yes, app creators and so on. So we make sure that they can see themselves not just in the world of football or in the world of rap, which I love both of those areas, but there's a whole world there that they can be a part of. So I'll stop there.
So, brothers and sisters, you got the rundown, yeah. If you're not involved, get involved, yeah. These are the men, yeah. I want to say this. These are the men that we are constantly told don't exist, yeah. These are the men that we are told are not about, are absent, are not taking care of business, are not taking responsibility, yeah, for what is going on in our communities, that we only complain about racism and we don't take responsibility for bringing up our boys and dealing with our young people in our communities. These are the men that the people who make those statements are ignoring when they make those statements, yeah. And I want to just highlight that, yeah, and respect and applaud these brothers for the work that they're doing. I want to just highlight the chat. I'm coming to you, bro. Let me just send some love to the chat quickly. My brother M.A. Butter is in the building, and he's a fellow Dominican, brother Davis. You know what I'm saying? So rap to that. You don't know. What's it called? Big up Media Net Live, yeah. If you're not subscribed to Media Net Live on YouTube, subscribe to that right about now. You know what I'm saying? More black media in the building, so do check that out. My big brother Amenoir is in the building, kings and queens. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, so big up to my big brother. And I'm saying this here because anyway, yeah, we're gonna have to come back to that. But at some point I'm gonna bring them on because like my big brothers Amenoir and Tugs, yeah, were very, very instrumental in terms of shaping myself, yeah, as a man. Do you know what I'm saying? And you know, because I've been close to them all of my adult life. And when I came on the spoken word scene, these were men that I looked to for examples in terms of how to move. Do you know what I'm saying? How to develop myself. And so we're gonna have that conversation as well. Big up to free the info. Do you know what I'm saying? Big up yourself. Big up Kawana Harris over there across the waters. Big up Kimani Culture. Big up Yvonne Daly. Big up Lady Divine in the building. And I'll come back to the rest in a second, because I know Brother Andrew wants to make a point. So go ahead, my brother.
No, I just want to touch on. I know Davis is passionate about this as well.
Yes, sir.
And I think someone just posted it just now. Funny enough, the reason I raised my hand because our black men and black boys are being flooded with images of what it means not to be a black man and a black boy, and we are sometimes unwittingly a part of this process of destroying black manhood.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, many people think that sometimes, I know sometimes many people may take me wrong, because every time I'm pushing all the imagery of West Side and other black institutions like Manhood Academy and whatever, okay, I'm trying to offset the barrage of the negative images of what our young boys are seeing and our young girls are seeing, and the parents are seeing of black boys just having machetes, or black boys just being kicked out of school, or black boys being arrested. See, yes, that is a significant minority that we've got to address, but that is not the totality.
Yes, sir.
And what we've got to do sometimes, Brother Shakara, with due respect,
yes, sir,
we've got to be more involved in the solution.
Yes,
we
sir.
are a community who are absolutely, totally reactionary.
Yes, sir.
So
yes,
every time they want to distract us, they can put something on the TV or put something out on a little viral WhatsApp group, and before we know it, we're all talking about that. Hold on a minute. That is not the cause. That's just the effect. If we spent more time now looking at the causes, then we can build programs that can deal with the cause. If there are too many programs dealing with the effects, knife crime, this crime, that crime. But how many of us are sitting down and say, you know what? Let's go to the cause of it. Let's go to institutions.
Yes,
and let's flood the black community. Let's flood the African community with what we're doing as a part of the solution.
Yes, sir. I agree, my brother, and that's one of the reasons why you're here, because it's time now. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of all this of all the talk about what we're not doing. When I know that there are people doing, and the people that are complaining about people not doing are not, generally speaking, fail to profile and give platform to the people that are doing, so that people can see the example, can get involved in the work, or start something new that replicates and builds upon that work. So thank you for saying that, brother Andrew. Yeah. Now I've got a next question in relation to, it touches on what brother Andrew just said, actually, in terms of this idea of manhood. Because one of the reasons why this event, Affirming Black Manhood, is being put on, and it's an event that I've had an idea about for a number of years, and I would have done it last year publicly had it not been for the lockdown. Lockdown still a go on, and I don't know when it's going to end. So I thought, you know what, let me just do it live online, instead of keep delaying it, because it's needed, But part of the reason is because I feel like there's the idea of even discussing manhood is like taboo, now. It's considered to be degenerative or regressive or out of old-fashioned, to actually look at what it means to be a man and define it, and the importance of having standards that we associate with productive manhood. And obviously both of you have kind of alluded to that in some way, shape, or form, but I just like your perspective on that in terms of the importance of us as men having definition and ideals of manhood that we can instill in our children, but also hold each other accountable to. So if I see a brother disrespecting the order of black manhood, I can pull him in line and say, listen, that's not how we behave. But we need in order to be able to do that, accountability requires standards. So from your both perspectives, are you agreeing, first of all, with my observation that it's actually taboo to talk about and define manhood today, that the concept is being destroyed? And what is the importance of us actually combating that and developing our own ideals of manhood?
For me, it's not even about like challenging manhood, it's about lifting the veil. It's about exposing the truth. I'll never forget the day I was in Brixton. I shared this story before, on social media, because it was weird. Met up with a brother, just going through Brixton, going to get some herbs and whatnot. And this guy was yes, Brother Davis, wagwan. And then was there talking. He was talking to me for about 20 minutes, about everything in the community, about knife crime, about chemtrails, about everything. And in my head, I'm like, this guy's just annoying. I don't even want to talk about this, you know, like why? But I do that, innit, you know?
Yes,
and then when he finished, when there was a break, right, I swear, all I asked him is, oh, brother, how's your children? If you see how my brother turned around and like my man ran away from all I asked, because I know he's got children, and I never see him with his children. So all I did was ask him, how's your children? Now he don't want to talk about it no more. And that's the issue that I have. Yeah, so we can put manhood to one side, because I know that that's a word that was created not by us, you know. But in terms of our standing as black men, I want to be in a position, me personally, when someone asks me a question, I'll look you dead in the eye and I'll give you an answer. Nothing long. An honest, straight answer. And what happens in our community, one thing that it triggers me is when people they run away from the truth. And I used to be the best at this. I used to just cast my spell like a magician, and this bamboozle people with all kind of nonsense, just so I can hide in my little corner and say, that I'm all right. Now, that's the first thing that I think we need to address. We have to start being honest. If you're depressed, say you're depressed. If you're not happy with someone, pick up your phone and say you're not happy with something or someone. We hide behind this veil, you know, and who are we really protecting? That inner child. And that's one reason, I love Andrew Muhammad. Andrew knows, like, because before I met Andrew Muhammad, I was in this dark energy. I used to go to workshops and I used to straight talk about knives, guns. I just want to traumatize, because I was in that dark place. So everything that used to come out my mouth is like, I want to impress them about my credentials on road and so on and so forth. And then I see Andrew Muhammad once at an event, and I see him there skipping and doing all of this. And I was like, who's this guy? And then when he started opening his mouth, like the knowledge, the energy, I'm just like, wow, like this is love in transformation. This is and I saw how my son would respond to my daughter at the time, because my son wasn't born. How she would just listen to the energy that Andrew. You see that there, right there. When you go on social media, and this is something for everyone to do, go on social media, look at all of the individuals. And no shade, there's no shade to nobody, but look at all of the speakers and what they're speaking about, and look at the energy that they're attached with. It's a very depressing, dark energy. And when I say dark, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying there's a lack of balance in our community. And Andrew Muhammad, like he's a lighthouse in our community, because when he comes in the room, I've never seen him upset. I've never seen him angry. I think I've heard him say
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I've heard 1-2 stories still, but we're not taught them fun.
But it's about having that balance.
Go.
And that's what we need to work on in our community, you know. I do know that manhood is a trigger, because once you're talking about manhood, you're talking about toxic masculinity. You're not talking about divine masculinity. You're not talking about the man who's vulnerable, or the man who can love, or the man who knows how to hold down a relationship. Sisters, I'm so sorry that there's not enough strong men that can hold it down. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But it's the situation that we're in, and it's something that we just have to dissolve. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Brother Davis. Brother Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much. I mean, Davis has really hit the nail on the head. We are not to be discussing manhood today. Is, as Brother said, it's like a toxic environment. But I think what we need to also address, my dear brother, what we need to address also, my dear brother, just fix this 1 second. What we need to address, brother, is, and I think Davis will appreciate why I've got to say this, is being a man, is every man a male, and is every male a man? Is male and man the same thing? Because this is where we need to make sure our young boys and the mothers understand that not every male is a man. Okay, we need to understand, but what is the difference then? Why is manhood so important? We don't say manhood, because there are two separate things, brothers. And understand this: the male. What is the difference between a male and a man? A male, believe it or not, is the physical aspect of manhood. Male deals with physicality, while man not only deals with physicality, he deals with the mental and the emotional being.
Brother Andrew, say that again, please. Say that again. Sorry, Shaq. Say that one more time. Pull up.
Yeah, we need to appreciate this. That man and male are not exactly the same thing. Yeah? That every man is a male, but not every male is a man. because the male is the physical being of that person or of the animal. You see, you got males in different in the animal kingdom, but not every male is a man. Male deals with the physical aspects, but man now is the mental and emotional side of the male. You see, sir, you got to develop your being to become a man. That's what we need to appreciate. What makes a man a man? A male feeds on physicality. So going into the gym, yeah, you can feed your physicality of being a male, but a man feeds on knowledge. That's what makes a man strong. A man doesn't feed on physicality. A man feeds on mentality and spirituality. That's what makes you a man. The attribute of becoming a man, inbuilt in being a man, is that a man passes on his seed. So if you're dealing with manhood passing on his seed, you can't pass on your seed physically. You pass on your seed spiritually. You pass on your seed educationally. The job of every man is to pass on his identity. That is why it's set up that you have what's called the father's name, the surname. It's called a surname because the aspect of being a man that you pass on who you are to your both to the brothers and the sisters of your family. Yeah. So when you look at people like Akala, that's a man. You understand that now, brothers and sisters? That's a man. When you look at people like Malcolm X, or I want to keep it UK based. Let's keep it UK based, man. When you look at Pulabino, that's a man. When you look at Shakara, that's a man. When you look at Amon Ra, that's a man. When you look at Brother Tugstar, that's a man. See, it's not about you being physical. It's about you being mental and spiritual. So what does the male feed on? You see, maleness feeds on ego. See, that's why it's linked to the physicality part of who you are. The maleness is connected to your ego. Yeah, that's what maleness is. But when you're a man now, you're linking to your side that deals with your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-happiness, your self-respect, your self-love. But maleness only links to ego. Now, ego's not wrong. Many people say that ego is wicked. It's not. The ego is the person's sense of self-importance. We must have ego.
I agree.
You understand that? But the thing about ego, it loves to be adored.
Yes.
Ego seeks approval. You understand me, brothers? Yeah. Ego is important for material success. You understand this, bro? But when you're thinking of outside of just material success, and now you're looking at building nation success, yeah, you can't just rely on your ego. As a man has to be linked to all of his emotions, and a part of those emotions are a range of emotions. That's why as a man, it's good to cry. As a man, it's good to hug another man. As a man, it's good to say to another man, brother, you look good, you know, brethren.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
you're looking, you know, as a man, you're not threatened. You see, because what's happening, brothers? I don't mean to take this out. I'm not gonna.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna mention no names.
Yes, sir.
But many of our organizations that we have in the community are led by black males.
Right.
It's ego led.
Yes, sir.
And you know the difference because a black man doesn't feel insecure. Yeah, a black man can see another black man in the same organization and he'll push that black man to because he understands that his brother's success is his success.
Yes, sir.
But if you're dealing with a black male now, it's like, raw, I can't let you shine too much, man. Because if you shine, then how are people going to look at me? You understand this, brothers? So it's very important that we separate malehood from manhood. And then we have discussions on manhood.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for that, my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Can I
feel free, bro, if you can.
Yeah, because even when you're talking about manhood as well, you have different classifications of manhood as well. It's like a spectrum, you know, because I can only just go back to my school, right? I know that there was a waste man. That I can picture him in my head right now. He was a waste. He had all of the ability, all of the talent, but he took it and he threw it in a bin. Yeah. Also, I know that there was the Gallus, like the man that he was interested. He was governed by the value of sensuality and love and lust. That's what drew. That's what. There was another man, he was the visionary. That's all he was driven by higher purpose. You had the next man over there. He didn't want to be a part of the crew. He wanted to do his own thing over there. So we have different classifications of men. And it's so important that we begin to realize that you've got kings, you've got gods, you've got, you've got haters. Like these people exist. And until we have these distinctions, it would allow us to have a better conversation. This is why when we speak to our young boys, we call them young masters. You know what I mean? Because they are masters of self, and we give them that as a distinction. When I greet my brothers, if I say "Wagwan, brother," you know that I'm not even rating you. If I call you king, or God, like there's a different rating, and we have to start looking at each other like we're not all the same. And I know we want to think that we're all the same. Yes, equality and all of that, but no, like I would all day long, like Andrew Muhammad, I'll sit underneath him with my pen and paper, I'll take notes. But you know why? Because I know my place. My ego's not built like that. Do you know what I mean? When there's a master teacher, I will sit there. Shakawa, when you speak, I'm there. I was in your session last week, and I'm just like, yo, I'm there taking notes because it's all about being on your journey, and every single man, is on their journey to becoming a better version of themselves, and that transforms every single day. Who I was today, I don't want to be tomorrow, so I need to continue that self-improvement and that discipline, and also that emotional control. Like there's a myth, that women say that men are emotionally void. That's a myth. It's not true. Men, they tap into a different emotion. Me being withdrawn is an emotion. Me just not wanting to talk, that's an emotion. True. When people say, "Oh, you're emotionless," they're talking about a certain type of emotion that they want: happiness, excitement. That's what they want. So you have to start considering the whole spectrum of emotions. And a lot of men, some men, they reside in a certain place, but it's important that Andrew said that you have to tap into all of the range of emotions, because that's what gives you fulfillment. That's what makes you richer. That's what makes you connect with so many different types of people when you allow yourself to enter there.
Beautiful. I'm gonna veer the conversation somewhere else slightly. One of the presentations, I should say, because all of the presenters are really facilitating conversations on the 20th of June for Affirming Black Manhood, and my father is going to be delivering or facilitating a conversation on black manhood and fatherhood. And the reason why is because I feel like all of us are fathers, right? And I'm the newest father among us, right? You know what I'm saying? In that regard, But I feel like there's a certain. I feel like the intentionality of being a father has a. If you are a man that wants to be a father, not breed, but wants to be a father, that has a definitive impact upon how the kind of person you shape yourself to become. And then when you're actually in the function, like I know that having a son, a child of any gender, has a monumental impact upon how you see yourself as a man. So I want to ask you both that question: like, how did the functionality or the role of being a father change or evolve or develop your perspective in terms of manhood and what it means to be a man?
Go on, brother Andrew. Do you want to lead on that?
No problem. I mean, if I understand your question correctly, it changed everything about my perspective. Because once you take on that responsibility of becoming a father, and when we look at the word father, you find within the word father is to further. You want your children to emulate the good side of you, but at the same time, you're willing to sacrifice things that you would love to have done yourself. But if it doesn't further that next generation, I realize that it has to there has to be a total change within myself. The only thing about it, brother, is that the sad thing about it, maybe it's the good thing about it, we don't come with a manual. Like a child's not born with a manual saying, okay, this is how to father me. So a lot of it is by trial and error. But I personally believe that becoming a father really does change the whole of your perspective in life. You realize that there's a bigger picture and that you are a part of that bigger picture. And in truth, you are blessed to be the father of that soul that has just come into being.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, father, to me, it changed everything in my reality.
Yes, sir.
You know.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Brother Davis.
Yeah, and children, like I always say, like to my son, like you're here to teach me. I say that to my daughter, like you're here because the challenges that they come with, right? And it's not challenges in terms of like disrespect or anything like that. Is the energy that they have. Like if I take my daughter Michaela, for instance, like she's an empath. She's very emotional. Now, anyone that knows me growing up, that's just not me. So I've had to work very hard to tap into that emotional side, just so I can connect with my firstborn beauty. Do you know what I mean? And it's not been easy. Where she might be upset or emotional about something, you know, sometimes I just want to minimalize it, like whatever, it's not. No, Davis, no, tap into that energy and become one with her, and let's find out what's going on. My son as well. So it's about allowing ourselves to be students and seeing what gifts that our children come with, because they come with so many lessons, so many gifts. And for me, the biggest gift is learning how to sacrifice, is give certain things up, you know? Just because, like for instance, the other day, my son was doing something silly, like a little handstand. It wasn't silly. He was doing something amazing in his little world. Not little world, in his magnificent world. You see what I'm saying? Like, we minimalize it. And I was on the computer doing something important, right? And he was like, Daddy, look. All he wanted me to do is look, you know. And I was just like so engrossed. I just said, close my laptop. Show me now. You know what I mean? It's just those little things, because our children watch all the time. When I'm doing my press-ups, and then my son's is watching me. I don't even know he's watching me. So I've got to do another 10. They watch you when you're not even aware of it. They know you so much. So they are our teachers. My son teaches me so much. And it's that relationship that we have. And also understanding love languages as well. For me, I think that was a game changer. It's understanding that there's more than one way to love your child. It's not always about being strong, disciplinarian, do this because I said so, I'm the man. Sometimes you need to be loving. Sometimes you need to, you know, do hugging and all that kind of stuff there. And it can be challenging if you are built a certain way and you don't allow yourself to, you know, to explore different sides of your character.
I think as well, added on to what Brother Davis has stated, is that there comes a time in fatherhood where the child starts to see your cracks or your vulnerability. and it's how you do that and still gain their respect at the same time, because it's going to happen. I remember with my children, they literally saw me as God. I'm not going to lie to you, God. God. They see me on the stage, they see me doing all these talks and doing the breakdowns and doing everything, okay? And in their little minds, even though you're not trying to give them that image, in their little minds, it's like, wow. They see people question me and what have you, okay? And I remember one time being on a train, and my daughter, just out the blue, says, Dad, why is Harlesden called Harlesden? I hadn't got a clue. You know what I mean? And one thing I don't want to do is try to bamboozle answers when you really know you don't know the answer. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, you can talk such a good way that you know. So one of the things I teach, never be afraid to say, I don't know. Sometimes they're the most powerful words that you can use. I don't know. And when I said to my daughter, Sharifa, you know what? I don't know. Her face, I did a pre, I couldn't. It's like, oh my God, Dad, you don't know everything. I thought you knew everything. And that's when it dawned on me how the youth sees a father. And so as they get older, you're going to really shape them to understand that, you know what, there are limitations to me. You know what I'm trying to say? And as a father, I'm just trying to do my best with what I know and with what I've got.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I want to say this, Carl. I'm in the community. I always notice, and because of how my father raised me, you know, he instilled certain things in my mind from young. So I'm very hyper conscious of the men in the community that I see with their children and the men that I don't see with their children. It's just something that I notice. And you are both men that I've seen. I mean, obviously, Brother Andrew, your children are grown now, innit? So we don't see what I'm saying, but I've seen you lot with your children, Do you know what I'm saying? And I fully respect that, because there's a lot of men in the community that they do all the community work, but their children are never a part of what they're doing. And I see you both have done that throughout the years. So I just want to acknowledge that and respect it. And I'm going to share an experience with my father. We're still wrapping up Kings and Queens, all right? But it's been a powerful conversation. I know now people are saying, what? Like, still wrap up, it just start. But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? But we respect the brothers them time, and we just want to make the people them know so them there. And I'm going to share this experience with my father, yeah? Some years ago, good, maybe about a decade ago, went to my grandma's house, and all my cousins were around, yeah. And in my generation, there's a lot of boys, right? Very few girls, yeah. And it was a long time since we've been around each other, yeah. So you know how it goes. We're young, everybody, you know what I'm saying, boisterous energy, and the elders are loving it because they ain't seen the grandchildren all together for a little while, and rare. So I've walked into the kitchen, yeah, and all my cousins are in the kitchen, and my dad is cooking. And I've walked into a conversation where, you know, some of us got children. I wasn't a father at that time, but you know what I'm saying, and you know, everyone's in relationships, and naturally, when man them get together, woman is a topic of conversation, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, you know, it's often the number one topic of conversation, especially when you're them ages there, when you're young in your 20s and them thing there, right? And so all the men were talking about their experience with this woman, that woman, this girl, that girl, what the baby mother did, what she didn't do, and a lot of it was about the state and the role and the condition, yeah, of women in how we relate to them, right? Soon after I walked into the conversation, because I hadn't said anything in the conversation, my dad stopped the whole conversation. And bear in mind, he's cooking, yeah, for everybody in the house, right, at this time, right? He says, you know, I've been listening to you all, right? Well, that's a way of yeah. And he said, you've been talking for a good half an hour about women, yeah, and what the woman them do, what them not do, and what the baby mama do, and oh, she wicked and bad and all kind of different thing. He said, but I want to hear young men talking about what it means to be young men, yeah, like what they're bringing to the relationships that they're in as young men. Too much young men spend an inordinate amount of time discussing women and womanhood, yeah, and not enough time discussing ourselves as men. We're out of tune with ourselves as men. We're not concerned as much as we should be with our development as men and what we bring to the table as men. Yeah. So that's a backdrop to asking this question, because last week an issue came up about misogyny and misogynistic patriarchy, and how that is how we as men are indoctrinated into certain kinds of ideals, and also the fact that a lot of the sisters in our community don't feel safe, yeah, you know what I'm saying, or protected in relation to us, yeah, or by us in that regard, yeah. So I'd like an insight from you both into this, especially in the work that you do, and in terms of what is your perception of the work that we as men need to do in terms of relating to our sisters, the women in our community, not just in relation to intimacy and sexual relationships or marriage, but also our mothers, our sisters, just the sisters in our community in general. What, from your perspective, is the kind of work or some of the kind of issues that you see and the kind of work that we as men need to be doing with each other so that we can be better men in relation to the women in our community?
Yeah, if I go first, and then Andrew Mohammed can just like burn the mic, you know. But for me, and I'll be very short. Men, I'm speaking to all the men. Like, don't matter what your status is, do work on yourself. Yeah, heal yourself. Yeah, and I don't mean watching Umar Johnson. That's not healing yourself. I don't mean watching, you know, or reading books. I'm talking about you go and sit down with someone who's wise and let them do work with your mind. The same way that we do work with young people. We must allow ourselves and put ourselves in that space where someone trained can get access to your inner child and can do work with the trauma or whatever you've been through. Because you know what? And I've seen it in myself, that certain things will still trigger me. And it's not the Davis of 2020 that's getting triggered. It's the Davis of, you know, like 1999 that's getting triggered. You know, there's still stuff that I need to sort out. You know what I mean? And so it's very important, like, before we do anything, as well as I'm an advocate of African history, absolutely. But knowledge yourself, get to know yourself, heal yourself, Go and get counseling. I've got a bag of counselors, you know, in my tribe. If anyone needs that, you know, culturally sensitive, non-judgmental, then we do that.
Yes,
that's what I've got to say. We work on self.
That's powerful. That's a powerful answer. Go ahead, brother Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, Davis has killed the game on that score. And the question, Brother Shakara, is so pertinent because we find that any restoration that we're doing with our boys, to be able to teach and share with them what it means to be a man, the feminine aspect is fundamental. It's just absolutely fundamental. And as I said at the beginning, you know, people always say, I must admit, I'm in so many different groups in WhatsApp, and I've got my own groups, okay?
Yeah, we know, brother Andrew, we know, we see you.
And, you know, I get some of the maddest videos, but someone just sent me a video just yesterday.
Yes. And
it was a brother and a sister having a fight. My God, brother. If you saw the way this man and woman, the man was, and the woman gave just as good back, you know, don't get it wrong. I'm saying, if you're going to physically punch a woman in her face like that, like you're punching a man, it shows that literally, as Brother Davis has just been said, just showed, we've got a lot of work to do. So a part of that restoration is that, and Davis has just said it, we got to do a lot of work on ourselves.
Yes.
So as we're teaching and as we're sharing with our young boys, believe it or not, it's healing for us too.
Yes.
And that's what I personally believe, brothers, that we must have a recognized rites of passage, because we can't leave it just to the individual boy to learn by himself. If we can set up a school of thought or a school of practices so that the young boys understand what it means to transition from a boy to man, and a part of that transitional period is how to respect our sisters. Now, I'm not talking as one, and I want to make this so plain. I am not talking as one, as an authority that I've done it all my life, because I haven't. I come from the same madness that everyone else is coming from. Davis has just said, I went to Wolford Forest College too. You know what I'm saying? We're all coming from the same ends in many respects. And no one sat me down.
East London, we say. East London. I want to say that. East London. Yeah, East London link up. Brup.
You're done. Okay, let's go. But you see, so I don't want the next generation of boys to maybe have a fortunate experience like Davis, to meet someone that opened his mind, that made him go through a process that other boys around him never went through. I don't want it done like that. I don't want it done by. I was just blessed that my brother knew your father.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they for them communicate. I was just overhearing them discussing. Opened up. So, see, it's done by chance.
Yes,
we can't build a community of black boys bringing up by chance.
Yes,
and as David says, it's got to be deliberate.
Yes,
and the only way it's going to be deliberate is if we, as black men, set something up. Let's leave a legacy. Say it was our generation.
Yes,
that set up this rites of passage, and it became London-wide.
Yes, sir.
Then nationwide.
Yes, sir.
Then European-wide. And a part of that rites of passage is understanding our relationship to feminine powers and to queendoms too. We must understand that, and we must teach that and pass that on.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for those answers, my brothers. And you know, look at as you put, simple as you take it. I know Brother Davis was saying there's sometimes the little things here. I'm looking at the comments in the chat, and it's my awareness has been drawn to the fact that just seeing three brothers interact like this is a lot for a lot of people. Yeah, it means a lot. Yeah, to a lot of people, it's a form of healing for a lot of people. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, man, it's them little things there. You have to be secure as a black man to bring on these good-looking, articulate brothers. You know what I'm saying? On a platform and ask them to speak. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, bro.
Rewind and say that again, because the people at the back didn't hear that last bit there.
What about you being good-looking? About you being good.
I'm only joking.
No, it's so good. It's so good. But no, I'm truly appreciative of my brothers. I'm gonna. There's one question in the chat I'm gonna try and get to if you've got a couple of minutes to answer it. Yeah. And it is Let me try and find it again now. Question for the panel: what advice and reading recommendations would you give to Black men that are inadequately prepared for manhood and seeking to improve? It's a kind of a big question, but I'll repeat it. What advice and reading recommendations would you give to Black men that are inadequately prepared for manhood and are seeking to improve? Big up to Emmanuel Adama. Appreciate that question right there. Go ahead, my brothers.
I think the first book for me that comes to mind straight away is Community Yourself by Naeem Akbar.
Yes.
And one of the reasons for myself is a psychological approach, and what that book done for me, it kind of separated Davis to different parts of my. There's an echo coming, you know. Yeah, different parts to my psyche, and it gave me a way of looking at myself as a community, you know, and the healing that we have to go through. Like that book for me, like that was the first book that came to mind. It was a game changer. It was a game changer, man. Powerful book. But most of my experiences didn't come through books. It came through having interactions. Literally, like sitting there and being humble. You know, if I'm going through some drama and I'm at this phone, Andrew, I want to do this. Andrew will just talk his truth. Like for me, those little exchanges between men is like gold dust. We are so detached. Like very rarely can a man talk to another man and be real and say, yo, like, no, don't do that, do this. Like it doesn't really happen, do you know what I mean? And a lot of men don't feel comfortable doing that as well. So even though there are great books out there, we have to start finding a space where we can have conversations and allow ourselves to be challenged. The amount of times that I've been challenged and I'll be like, do you know what? Thank you. That's a lesson. I'll go away and I work on myself and I'll come back stronger. Books have not done that for me. It's given me information and tools and everything else. But there's nothing better than getting a roasting. Like Viva Mun, for those that know, listen. People run away from him because once you're in that space with him, yeah, he knows he will take your heart and he will massage it. And some people don't want that, innit? It's just like, because like Viv is very good at psychology, like that's his background, like counseling and so on and so forth. We all need these individuals in our life to allow ourselves to be vulnerable around and for them to just give us a slap. Sometimes we need a slapping.
True, very true, very true. Go ahead, brother Andrew.
I just want to second what Davis says. I mean, I was thinking about what books whilst Davis was speaking, but he touched on the epic of Naeem Akbar, Community of Self. I think, yes, I would definitely recommend that for black men and black boys. And at the same time, I would also recommend, for me, what done it for me was the autobiography, of Malcolm X and Message to the Black Man. These are books that really did shape me. And as David stated, the thing that really became life-changing for me was the interaction with other men or other boys. You know what I'm trying to say? That really shaped me. Just to literally have that conversation or be in their space is fundamental. And that's why I say to all of the brothers and sisters listening to this, you know, join organizations such as Manhood Academy Global. Join organizations like the Westside Young Leaders Academy and Origin, and there are many others, okay? Join because it's that interaction that you need, yeah? And then you meet men. And as we say, men sharpen men like diamonds sharpen diamonds. There's something that we can't just do at home reading in a book, which books to me are fundamental. But that's the theoretical side. You need to be in the area where you can practice what you're reading. And that's fundamental.
Yes, sir. I'm going to add, but first of all, I've got my Community Yourself here. Like, I just want to, like, it is an excellent book here. And the strength of the book is that it provides frameworks for self-development and self-assessment. That is the strength of this particular book, yeah. And one of the best tools that I've been able to develop and use is this page here. It touched on something that brother Andrew was saying earlier, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up using this as a framework, right? But it deals with.
You're giving me the tingles right now, you know, because I've not opened that book for years. Seeing that alone, I'm like, yo. Right,
do you know what I'm saying? But brother Andrew spoke about the ego as the advocate of the self, and this is the book that I first really learned about that from. And so yeah, but ego is supposed to be, for example, balanced by conscience. So ego is the advocate of the self, and conscience is the advocate of others. So you got to balance those things. But oftentimes we're not given frameworks, to understand these aspects of self-development and take charge of it. So it is an excellent book. I'm going to add to it though, one from a man who I greatly respect here. It's called Issues of Manhood in Black and White by Brother Amos Wilson. Like, this is my general. You know what I'm saying? This book it's not even that old, but he's delivered some speeches and it was put together based upon that. But the reason why I recommend it is because it puts our manhood in the context of the functionality that it performs in our family, in our society, and also in the wider context of society as well. Because we have to realize, we have to be conscious of, and it's one of the things that he emphasizes, that our dysfunctionality in our manhood serves somebody else. Somebody else's objective. And so we have to be conscious of that in terms of how we operate in today's world. My brothers, I'm truly, truly appreciative of everything that you've been able to share with myself and the family listening right about now. I want to acknowledge what you just said in terms of it being about getting in the room, with other brothers and working this out and doing that work. And this is what Affirming Black Manhood is about. And in fact, Baba Buntu, who was with Brother Andrew Muhammad yesterday, I believe, live. Unfortunately, I missed it. Nice. But he's going to be on the event as well, facilitating a conversation about brotherhood circles. And developing brotherhood circles, the need to develop brotherhood circles. And we're also going to feature a living example of that in terms of the Shabaka Men's Group, which is a brotherhood circle across the continent and the diaspora that he has developed. It's very important that as mandem, we sharpen each other as mandem. Do you know what I'm saying? It's extremely, extremely important. So I want to acknowledge you. My brothers, I'm truly humbled by this sharing. I'm going to let you go because I know you're both busy and you've given me your time today. So thank you very, 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 very much. I appreciate you both. And no doubt we're going to work together more in the future.
Absolutely. One love. Big up.
Bless, man. Bless.
Peace. Family, that's Brother Andrew Muhammad. That's Brother Davis. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm like I said, family, I don't bring joke business, man, them, you know what I'm saying, on the platform. And so that, you just got a taste, of some of what we're going to be getting into in Affirming Black Manhood on Sunday, the 20th of June. So get your tickets, do you know what I'm saying? And all the info is at shakaraspeaks.com. shakaraspeaks.com. And this is one of more to come. When we're consistently allowed to do physical things, we're gonna definitely be making this a physical event where mandem can be in the same room and break bread and exchange and network and go into self-development and all of these things, kings and queens. I want to big up all the mandem, big up all the mandem who have come through to watch this and take part. Big up all the men that will be with us. And I want to big up all the sisters as well that are showing their love and their encouragement. It means more than family and sisters, because a lot of the time when we interact as brothers and sisters nowadays, especially in spaces of social media, it's very combative. It's very toxic. There's not a lot of love in the conversation. And so I personally do truly appreciate being affirmed by sisters when I am doing work with brothers and among brothers that is not necessarily directly targeted at the sisters, but the sisters come true to show their love and say go on and affirm it. That does more than you. So big up to all the sisters them that are showing them the love, kings and queens. There should be at least one more live chat before the event on the 20th. Stay tuned. I'm still working out how it's going to take place. But just stay tuned and we'll see if we can work it out. But man, I appreciate it. And I see you for Affirming Black Manhood on Sunday, the 20th of June. Sunday, the 20th of June. We start at 12 p.m. and we've got through kings and queens. So, you know what I mean? Man. Tendam Wadi. Abibi Fahodie. Abibi Tumi. African power for all African people. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Affirming Black Manhood. Taking back the power to define, develop, protect, and project what it means to be a black man in today's world. On Sunday, the 20th of June, we invite you to join the conversations facilitated by our esteemed lineup, engaging us all in addressing various aspects of black manhood from a range of perspectives, featuring Baba Mwalimu Baruti, defining principles of black manhood, Robin Walker, the economics of black manhood, Ifeanyi Grant, rebuilding productive African manhood whilst challenging misogyny. Brother Leader Bandaka, Black Manhood, Fatherhood and Rites of Passage. Baba Buntu, building Black Brotherhood. This is an online event taking place Sunday, the 20th of June, 2021 from 12 p.m. UK time. For tickets and more information, visit shakaraspeaks.com. International guests, feel free to join us at any time or catch the playback. This is an event for Black men by Black men. Affirming Black Manhood. Affirming Black Manhood. Taking back the power to define, develop, protect and project what it means to be a black man in today's world. On Sunday the 20th of June, we invite you to join the conversations facilitated by our esteemed lineup, engaging us all in addressing various aspects of black manhood from a range of perspectives, featuring Baba Mwalimu Baruti, defining principles of black manhood, Robin Walker, the economics of black manhood, Ifeanyi Grant, rebuilding productive African manhood whilst challenging misogyny, Brother Leader Bandaka, Black Manhood, Fatherhood and Rites of Passage, Baba Buntu, building Black Brotherhood. This is an online event taking place Sunday, the 20th of June, 2021 from 12 p.m. UK time. For tickets and more information, visit shakaraspeaks.com. International guests, feel free to join us at any time or catch the playback. This is an event for black men by black men. Affirming Black Manhood. Manhood as fatherhood. I don't think a man fulfills his manhood in any way more profound than through the role, function, and responsibility of being a father. Now formally carrying that title, I am meditating on the extent to which manhood is often defined by external trappings. The term provider is misleading and extremely restrictive in the way it is commonly used. It focuses on the capacity to accumulate material things that you give or pass on to children. My meditation is leading me to see provider as a nurturing and cultivating attribute, one that focuses on developing the internal character necessary to give my son what he needs. I am concerned with material, but not before principles and values. In other words, I must provide my son an example through how he sees me act. I must provide balance and harmony, ma'at, so that he may develop balanced and harmonious character. Iwapele. I must provide knowledge and wisdom so that he may gain understanding. Jehuti. Through how I relate to his mother, I must provide a positive complementary reflection so that he learns how he must relate to his sisters and be related to by them. I must build and provide him something to build on. I must provide for him the spiritual, mental, and physical tools for him to play his part in the overthrow of European imperialism and the liberation of African people. My son must be a warrior. Therefore, I must provide for him a general, a field marshal. It seems to me that the function of father needs to play a greater role in how black manhood is defined in general. This is the missing link, the essential component for developing new paradigms and manifestations of black manhood. It occurs to me that the wisdom of our ancestors is profound. The new paradigms are actually old. Sankofa. A man was and is a man based upon his connection to family. A man's status was intricately tied to his role and function as a father and a husband. Everything else is an extension of this central principle and revolves around this axis. I am humbled by this meds. Kudzai muzimu mokolo. Tendai moari. Ashe. Tendamwari family, peace, blessings, and welcome to the third installment of the new Black Daddy Diary. Totally enjoying this process. I didn't think I'd be doing it, but I thank those who have encouraged me to go down this road and are encouraging me to continue going down this road. Once again, we always, kind of love and appreciate and welcome your reflections into what is being said, your thoughts, your feelings. And I'm seeing a lot of important discourse and dialogue being created, so I give thanks for being a part of that. it's, you know, really appreciated. I haven't been through something like this properly since October, November, when I was being initiated into the Sima Kemet yoga system as an instructor of Sima Kemet yoga. I am an instructor of Sima Kemet yoga, for those who may not be aware. And yeah, throughout that process, we had to keep daily reflections. And so that was a positive process. And before that, it was really going through my rites of passage, yeah, that I was really deeply engaged. We had to keep what was called a PDR, a personal development record. And so going through that process, you know, throughout my teens, I know the power of being able to, you know, document your thoughts and reflect upon them, coming back to them and them kind of things there. It's not something that I do enough in my life. But obviously being a father, now, you know, there's not a more life-changing that you can go through. And so I've been prompted to do this at this particular stage of life, and I give thanks. So getting into today's reflection, this is day 3, yeah, and I was writing something practically every day at this point. But yeah, day 3. Fatherhood as manhood, or manhood as fatherhood, depending on how you want to say it. It really don't matter. This was my reflection. This was deep because this is now obviously not for the first time, but me really going into the kind of father that I want to be. And that's primary. That is most important. And I was looking at it in the sense of how the role that a father, being a father, plays in the type of men we become. Yeah. As I started it off, I don't think a man fulfills his manhood in any way more profound than through the role, function, and responsibility of being a father. Yeah. And that's because manhood, adulthood, is all about responsibility. Taking responsibility for oneself, yeah, and how one projects the self in the world, yes. And it goes on another level when you are not only responsible for yourself, but also responsible for the development of a life which you have contributed to bringing into this world, yeah. And that's a very profound ideal. You have created this life, and now you must be responsible for nurturing and cultivating this life. So now I'm thinking about that now in respect of what I consider to be the number one concept, word, phrase, idea associated with fatherhood, and that is the term provider. To be clear, absolutely clear, I am not diminishing the importance of the role of a provider. I am not diminishing the importance of a father being a provider in a child's life. What I am saying is that how the term is usually applied, popularly applied to me, is very restrictive. Yeah, very restrictive. It doesn't take into consideration so much of what I think a father needs to be. Why? Because it's generally focused on the material, yeah? So essentials, food, clothing, and shelter, yeah? And then wants, yeah? And other needs, all right? Usually material, yeah? And so, because a couple of examples of what I'm saying, and I gave these examples in the discussion that followed after I shared this on Facebook, because I was challenged a certain way. And it's like, you know, I have a great disdain, yeah, for fathers who almost exclusively speak about their children in relation to child support, yeah? And I come across these kinds of dynamics, yeah? When you talk about, you know, taking care of their children, they're telling you about how much money they pay to their mum, yeah, every month. And this is obviously for men who are not in relationships with the mothers of their children, yeah? And then there is also the fact that even if you're providing materially for the children, it doesn't mean that you're leaving them anything economically for them to build upon, as a foundation for them to build from and build upon. And I think those two things are very important. As I said, I'm looking at this thing now in terms of cultivating and nurturing, yeah? Cultivating and nurturing. And I use those words because in cultivating and nurturing children, it means that we have to develop certain characteristics, yeah, a certain skill set in order to achieve that job. The term provider, as it is normally applied, in my humble opinion, only means that you must be financially stable. Yeah, it doesn't have a direct impact upon the kinds of men we become. Yeah, and that's what I'm looking at the moment. So I must provide my son an example of manhood. Yeah, that he can follow. All right, I have to be there. He has to see me functioning as a man. Yeah, for him to get his first understanding of what it means to be a man. And that is particularly important in this day and age, because there are so many destructive ideals out there of what men are and what men should be and what men are supposed to be. Yeah, destructive ideas. They don't produce anything other than destruction. Particularly important because there are many ideals and philosophies out there right about now that pretend to be correcting those destructive ideas of manhood, but actually promote more destructive ideals of manhood. And so I want to be my son's counterbalance, yeah, to those things. Yeah, I want to provide for him the counter example to all these destructive ideals out there. Yeah, I gave that example in what I wrote. The other one was in terms of how I relate to his mother. Yeah, very important that I provide an example for him through how I relate to his mother regarding how he is supposed to relate to the women that are around him, the women that he will come across. Yes, and these things through how I relate to his big sister. Yeah, I must provide that example. One of the most destructive ideas and ideals about Black manhood is in relation to how we relate to women. All right. And so he must learn the kinds of characteristics, the kind of character he must develop in order to relate to women in constructive and productive ways. And furthermore from that, because reciprocity is important, he must also learn the kinds, what must be reciprocated from the women that he's related to. Yeah, this is important for me because growing up and having the ideas and the ideals, because I was taught about from the men around me about these destructive ideas and not manifesting them. Yeah, and one of the byproducts of kind of this social construct is the idea that we get that women are kind of naturally predisposed towards relationships, yeah, and men are not. And so when you go through into relationships that as a young man, it could put you in a bit of a situation because you're not appreciating that sometimes people in general, man, woman, picnic, can act in dysfunctional ways. Yeah. And so you learn that through the experience of being in relationships. And so my son must learn and know what should be the kinds of appropriate reciprocation, yeah, for what he is projecting towards the sisters that are around him. And I hope you see where I'm going with this, that there are certain characteristics that I must develop, yeah, that go beyond just being able to give him things in order to be that kind of father. It directly affects the kind of man that you become. So then that got me thinking about the extent to which we as men growing up desire to be fathers. Yeah, they say that women develop the maternal instinct from young. Yeah, and others celebrate the fact, others bemoan the fact that women are, socialized in a way whereby being a mother and a wife is primary, and if you don't achieve those things in life, then you failed in fundamental aspects of your life. And they bemoan the fact, those people bemoan that fact, bemoan it based upon the fact that men are not socialized in the same way, right? And I'm thinking about this thing, saying, to what extent do we develop a paternal instinct as men from young? The desire, the aspiration to become a father, yeah? And how does that aspiration or lack of aspiration affect the kinds of men that we become, yeah? So based upon everything that I've just said, yeah, looking at being a father, and what it means and what you have to provide. If you're conscious of that as a young man and developing your character, your self-development around that, yeah, then it's a different kind of man you're becoming. Yeah, different kind of man you're becoming. So I thought about this and I'm saying, in indigenous cultures, particularly looking at African culture, because I'm an African-centered man, yeah, men are cultivated to be fathers. Yeah. And so in developing on this now, reflecting on what I wrote before, I picked up this book, called Facing Mount Kenya, by Jomo Kenyatta. He is the former president, of Kenya, all right, independent Kenya. And politics aside, politics aside, this book does give a very good explanation about Kikuyu culture, tradition. It goes through initiation rites, procreation, marital processes, relationships between elders and young people. There's a lot we can learn about our Kikuyu tradition from this book. So I'm going to read sections of it from the chapter on the marriage system, to explain what I'm talking about right here. All right. He says, in the Kikuyu community, marriage and its obligations occupy a position of great importance. One of the outstanding features in the Kikuyu system of marriage is the desire of every member of the tribe to build up his own family group, and by this means to extend and prolong his father's mbali. Mbali means clan. This results in the strengthening of the tribe as a whole. So what we're getting from that already is the fact that there's already a responsibility that marriage has beyond just the individuals, You know what I'm saying? It's not just about I love her and one day we die. You know what I mean? Marriage has a responsibility and a role and a function in the context of the Kikuyu nation. And we use nation instead of the word tribe because we understand the implications of the word tribe in European culture. We're not going at that kind of time, but you know what I mean? So he goes on signing the matrimonial contract, the marriage ceases to be merely a personal matter, for the contract binds not only the bride and bridegroom, but also their kinfolk. It becomes a duty to produce children, and sexual intercourse between a man and his wife or wives is looked upon as an act of production and not merely as the gratification of bodily desires. The desire to have children, listen to this part now, the desire to have children is deep rooted in the hearts of both man and woman. And on entering into matrimonial union, they regard the procreation of children as their first and most sacred duty. In Kikuyu society, the rearing of a family brings with it a rise in social status. The social position of a married man and woman who have children is of greater importance and dignity than that of a bachelor or spinster. After the birth of the first child, the married pair become the object of higher regard on the part of their fellows than they were before. Yeah, so wanted to read that for the context of it, but also to highlight this idea of the desire to have children being deeply rooted, in the hearts of both the male children and the female children, in the context of the role that it plays, the function that it plays in the betterment of the nation as a whole, So it seems that our ancestors had that particular concept on lock. But not only that, status, greater status is applied to men becoming husbands and fathers. Popular wisdom, would suggest that we have it the opposite way around in this society, that status is applied to the extent to which a man can remain young, free, and single. Those concepts are associated with each other. Young, free, and single. Freedom is associated with being single, and both of those things are associated with youth. And this doesn't mean that because in another chapter in this book, they go into the sexual socialization of the young men and women, and before a certain point, they are allowed, to relate rather freely, all right, but they understand that that's a process in their development, more status, like it says, is applied to being a husband than there is to being a bachelor. So there is this no thing of being a perpetual bachelor into whatever age, you know, and conquering as much women as possible. That would be considered an infantile characteristic, yeah? That a man becoming a man and being a man and maturing as a man is very much tied to your capacity to be a husband and to be a father, yeah? So it looks like our ancestors had this thing on lock, fam, yeah? Again, I said status, you know, all right? So that means your importance, yeah? Your social importance heightens upon these ideals. I don't know, and you lot can tell me if you think I'm chatting foolishness. I don't know if we grow in a society and a community right this minute now that cultivates men with that ideal, where we achieve greater status, yeah, socially by becoming fathers and husbands. I'm thinking now in the mind of another book by the name of Water and the Spirit, yeah, by Malidoma Some. And the book is autobiographical. It speaks to this brother who was kidnapped, yeah, from his village. He is of the Dagara people in Burkina Faso, and he was kidnapped and raised in this kind of missionary school, yeah, Catholic missionary school, and he eventually escapes that experience, traumatic experience, finds his community, his village, and has to go through the process of being reintegrated into that nation, the Dagara people. And one of the things that he has to go through is the manhood initiation rites, yeah, the rites of passage, yeah. And he's a bit older than those who he goes through it with, but he has to go through it. And as a part of the process, one of the things that his father says to him is, he's asking his father what's going to take place, yeah. And his father tells him that he can't inform him, yeah, as to what he's going to go through, because informing him would be a form of protection. And if he protects him from the experience, he will be denying him the lessons that he's going to learn by going through that experience, yeah? I'm highlighting that because that father knew what his responsibility was at that particular moment in time, yeah? He knew what his son was about to go through because he himself had been through it, and he knew that he had to let go and allow his son to go through that experience. He knew what his role and function as being a father was, and by doing that, he was actually cultivating and developing him in a certain particular way. But then another example in the book, yeah? When Malidoma Some returns and he finds his family again, he obviously has a lot of issues reintegrating himself into not just the actual community as a whole, but the family. And so because of his experience in this Catholic missionary school, he has a lot of unresolved issues with his family, and they primarily manifest through his relationship with his father, yes? And so what happens is the Gara family structure, yeah, has various paternal influences. And one of them is the maternal uncle, yeah? The maternal uncle who he describes in the book as the male mother, yes? And his responsibility is, because of the fact that Malidoma Some's issues with his father manifest themselves primarily in his anger. He is very quick to anger, yeah? The maternal uncle, the male mother, his responsibility was to ensure that he's going through a therapeutic process, yeah, of being able to quell his anger, understand his emotions, so that he's be able to resolve the issues, go beyond his anger to be able to resolve the issues that he has with his father. And so how he describes it is that it's a nurturing kind of relationship whereby it's the feminine, bringing out the feminine in the masculine, the nurturing, cultivating, yeah, vibration once again. That's deep to me, fam. That's science right there, yeah? Now, this is the uncle, you know, but he's called the male mother, which means that he has a parental responsibility. Again, men being cultivated in a way that teaches them to be parents, to be fathers, yeah? You grow knowing you're going to have these responsibilities, yeah, within the culture. And so, having gone meditating on all of this, you know, I'm just saying that our ancestors had a thing on lock. Yeah, our ancestors had the thing on lock. And for me, if we want to create better kinds of men, or we want to become better kinds of men, one of the major ways that we can do that is through deciding and looking at the kinds of fathers that we want to be and the kinds of men we would need to be in order to be the kind of father that we want to be. So I end the reflection off by saying Kudzai Muzimu Mokulu. That's again Shona. Yeah, Kudzai Muzimu Mokulu means give praises unto our great ancestors. Kudzai is praises. Muzimu is ancestors. Mokulu is great. Kudzai Muzimu Mokulu. Tendam Wadi, I explained in the first reflection. You have to watch that if you want a breakdown of that. And then Ashe. Ashe now is not Shona. Ashe is Yoruba. And Ashe is life force energy. Yes, literally the life force energy that flows through all things. But also in prayer and ritual, Ashe is a word that denotes the bringing forth, the bringing into existence and manifestation, the will of the self collectively and individually. So Ashe could loosely translate as let it be done, if it is said at the end of a prayer. So I end this reflection with that, giving praises to our ancestors, the creator of the universe, and saying Ashe in the knowledge that I will be moving forward to continue to cultivate myself to be the kind of father that I want to be. Give thanks, kings and queens. I'm sure this reflection is going to be longer than the previous two because of the subject matter. It's a very important one. And as always, I look forward to your reflections, particularly the Mandem once again, especially on this one, you know what I mean? Particularly the Mandem. But sisters, you're always welcome. We cannot, develop ourselves as men completely divorced and estranged from the women that are around us, you know what I mean? So I look forward to all those reflections right there. And see you again in about a week's time, where I think I'm going to be going into the science of naming. I think that's the next reflection that I wrote. Oh, by the way, before I finish, some of you have been asking to see my son. You want my son to feature in these videos? Yeah, that ain't going to happen for now, yeah? You know what I mean, my G? So, yeah, especially because we haven't had the naming ceremony yet. And so I'm not plastering my son over the social media anytime soon. So, let's leave that out there for now. But stay tuned. I'm saying he might feature at some point in the distant future. But also, some of you have been asking to see Nahanda, yes, in some of these videos as well. And we can probably negotiate that, you know what I mean? So stay tuned for that. We'll look into that particular science right there, you know what I mean? So once again, see you in about a week's time. I give thanks. Kuzai Muzimu Mukuru. Tendamwadi. Ashe.
Affirming Black Manhood. Taking back the... Affirming Black Manhood. Taking back the power to define, develop, Affirming Black Manhood. Affirming Black Manhood. Taking back the power to define, develop, protect and project what it means to be a black man in today's world. On Sunday the 20th of June, we invite you to join the conversations facilitated by our esteemed lineup, engaging us all in addressing various aspects of black manhood from a range of perspectives, featuring Baba Mwalimu Baruti, defining principles of black manhood, Robin Walker, the economics of black manhood, Ifayomi Grant, rebuilding productive African manhood whilst challenging misogyny, Brother Leader Bandaka, Black Manhood, Fatherhood and Rites of Passage, Baba Buntu, Building Black Brotherhood. This is an online event taking place Sunday, the 20th of June, 2021, from 12 p.m. UK time. For tickets and more information, visit shakaraspeaks.com. International guests, feel free to join us at any time or catch the playback. This is an event for black men by black men. Affirming Black Manhood. Affirming Black Manhood. Taking back the power to define, develop, protect and project what it means to be a black man in today's world. On Sunday the 20th of June, we invite you to join the conversations facilitated by our esteemed lineup, engaging us all in addressing various aspects of black manhood from a range of perspectives, featuring Baba Mwalimu Baruti, defining principles of black manhood, Robin Walker, the economics of black manhood, Ifayomi Grant, rebuilding productive African manhood whilst challenging misogyny, Brother Leader Bandaka, Black Manhood, Fatherhood and Rites of Passage. Bababuntu, Building Black Brotherhood. This is an online event taking place Sunday, the 20th of June, 2021, from 12 p.m. UK time. For tickets and more information, visit shakaraspeaks.com. International guests, feel free to join us at any time or catch the playback. This is an event for black men by black men, affirming black manhood.